Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 YouTube friends. Come on in, come on in. Hope you're doing well tonight. So, tonight's topic is women's health. It's Women's Health Month, Women's Health Day. And so, I want to, do a check in with you all just to make sure that you all are thriving or at least striving for good health or better health. Yes. Also want to talk about my diabetes, CKD, cholesterol, uh, and hormone updates with my doctor. Hello, Felicia Marie B. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Greatly appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. How are you doing tonight? Just want to talk a little bit tonight about women's health, since it's Women's Health Month. Yep. And of course, I invite the men in as well. I know the men, like, they probably say, well, every time you turn around, you coming up here with some women's health. Like, but again, as I stated, even though, we may talk about women's health, of course, because I'm a woman, so of course I'm going to, talk a lot about it, but because that's what, resonates with me. But I'm also making sure that I'm talking a little bit about men's health, or just realize, letting, men know, hey, you need to know this stuff for your wife, your significant other, your kids. It's good to know some things, whether you're a woman or a man. We need to know about each other, right? Yeah. Hello, Grant. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Hello, Mia. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Grace. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in. Yes, you're welcome, sweetheart. You're welcome. We had a great time at the Galentine's event. Yes. Oh, thank you. And this, y'all probably can't see it because of the light. I'm trying to get some light, but it says what? It's probably, I don't know if it's, y'all can see it, lovely ladies. Yes. And the scripture is Proverbs 31 and 15. Yes. So I went to an event last year, and it's actually about to come back up again. It's like a women's empowerment event. And yeah, so I bought this shirt from one of the vendors, and I enjoy it. So I thought, since tonight I'm talking about women's, health, since it's Women's Health Month, again, June will be Men's Health Month. So we'll talk a little bit about men's health as well during that time. So hello, Bossway. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in, sweetheart. Bossway, I just want to let you know that I enjoyed the Sunday service that you had with Goga. Um, for those who don't know, she actually was on a live with Goga, Gog, I think it's Goga, and very, very good. He actually does, I think, some yoga and other things on his channel, but he does a lot of interviews, talking to people, within the community. Very, 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 very good live. I was so proud of you, Bossway. So proud of you. All right. So Mia said we are facing some bad storm, tornadoes. Oh my goodness. Well, stay safe. We pray that you stay safe in the name of Jesus. Oh my gosh. Hopefully no one, gets hurt from the storms. We know storms have to come, right? Unfortunately. But we hope that storm pass you all over, and that no one is, hurt, the property is not damaged. Or if it is, very, very minimum. All right. Yep. So we're praying for you, Mia. All right, everybody saying hello. Hello, L. Lewis. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. All right, so let's see. Grant, your wife is a baddie. Yeah. So Grant also, if you all have not seen Paul Amadeus Lane, he was on a live last night with Paul Amadeus Lane. He's, part of our community, and both of them really. And so, yeah, Christy, which is Grant's wife, she was able to come on as well for a little bit. Y'all did a wonderful job, Grant. Wonderful job. Yes, on there. Paul is real good with well, his I guess his professional life. He is a talk show. I'm some talk show. He does radio, right? Or has dipped and dabbed in radio, for a while. And so yes, he is very, very good when it comes to interviews. And so y'all check him out if y'all have not already. Also, Kendi K, she did a live last night, summoned some of the GLP-1 um, content creators as well as supporters on her channel because she just started her GLP-1. She just took her second shot, GLP-1 injection. She's on Zipbound, and she had a really good live. Grant was on that panel as well last night, so he was working double duty last night, plus supporting all these other people. Baby, Grant I think, has become the hardest working look supporter and content creator in these YouTube streets, y'all. He's not playing around. All right. You're welcome, sweetheart. You're welcome. All right. So tonight's topic, since it's Women's Month, I thought I would talk a little bit, just about women's health. Again, Grant, you're welcome. Men, you're welcome to come in because I know I have some men that follow me as well as women, but it's always good to sit, and learn a little bit about, even though you're not a woman, you can learn about women's health because women's health is very, very important, right? You have mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandmas, your significant other. If you're not married, your spouse. But if you're not married, it's good to know about what women, just humans in general, right? So we will actually sit with you all and talk about men's health during that time. So yes, do not shy away. Stay in the chat. We're not getting like deep off in like very personal, private stuff tonight. So it's okay to be here. I just want to just say that just in case you don't have to shy away. We want you to know more about us. Yes, that's, we have to build a relationship, and that's how we'll know, you understanding why we're going through some of the things we go through. Just for instance, like menopause, we go through a lot of things, a lot of hormonal shifts and everything. And men need to know why we're going through it. Why is she tripping? Like, what is going on? She ain't used to be like this. So you'll kind of understand a little bit better the more we talk about it, right? Knowledge is power. So then you'll be able to understand how to deal or, like be able to, work through it with her. Not just, oh, she's dealing with her woman's things and that's it, No, try to work through it with her, understand it better. So maybe you can give her some suggestions, on, maybe how to try to work things through to make it, alleviate some of the hormone issues that we go through as women. And also, like I said, you have andropause too, and so you all go through things as well as men go through some things as well. Matter of fact, I was talking to, I don't know if Hajareen mind me saying it, but I was talking to Hajareen one day and we were talking about menopause and andropause, just a little brief conversation. And I was saying, a lot of times with andropause, we know it, a lot of people say, oh, men going through like a midlife crisis or whatever, and they may want to go and buy a motorcycle or, something very outlandish that they normally would not have done, as they were coming up. And it's like, well, you want a motorcycle now? Like, what's going on with that? And she was like, everybody, we all know that her husband is, older than her, much older than her. And so, and we've seen him on behind the scenes. Yes, as well as when she did her renewal, they did their vow renewal. So we know, already nothing that that we're not aware of or whatever. But anyway, so she was like, was his midlife crisis. So, I done looked it up, curious with Kim, because I'm like, yeah, you know what? That could be true. My mom passed a while ago, and my dad married someone, and he was much younger. She was much younger than him. She is much younger than him, rather. And so, yeah, I went to look it up. I was like, I'm so curious about it now, but it does say that, that is something that a lot of men do, especially when, women say their wives for some reason, pass, before them or whatever, a lot of times they'll find younger women. Um, but I think when Hadri and them got together, he was around, that Andrew Paul's age. It had us, we were cracking up about it, right? Right. But I said, oh, that, hey, Hadri had to, Look, I said, how they said Stella got her groove back, honey. Mr. Roberts said, baby, listen. Let me get this pretty young thing. They look so happy together. I'm so excited for them. Anyway, the look. And I remember them, on their the behind the scenes when they did a Valentine's thing. A lot of them answers they were not getting right. Honey, listen. I said that's what happens when you have over 20 years. You ain't got to have all the right answers, honey. All we know is we love each other, and that's all that matters, right? Plus, we've done so much together, But also, women change, as time progresses. A lot of times, men may stay kind of the same. We change a lot, throughout the years as we continue to, live. So yeah, sometimes they may not see the change happen until later on. But again, that's why, like I said tonight, you all stay in here, y'all learn a little bit more about us. You'll learn, we shift here and there, with the things that we may like, or not like. Do y'all remember back in the day, we used to get these real huge teddy bears? Guys would bring buy us like real huge teddy bears. Now I'm 52, so this was probably like in the 90s. If you all, have been, if y'all were around in the 90s as a teenager. But yeah, big old teddy bears, real big old cards. We used to love it. Then as we got older, it's like, okay, I don't want it no more. I don't want that no more. But some people still did it because some of the guys, because they didn't know no better. It's like, no, we don't want that anymore. Like, even if you do give us a teddy bear, give us a little small one, just a little small keepsake or something. Like, I don't want that big old teddy bear anymore. Anyway, that's just me tripping, laughing, reminiscing back in the day, from back in the day. All right. So Grant says, I just looked up what baddie means. Never heard that term. Oh my gosh. Yes. All right. Very sweet of you, Grace and FMB. All right. FMB says, I don't know where I met Grant. I feel like I woke up one day and boom, there's Grant. Appreciate your support though. Yes. I met Grant on Twan's Live, Tracy Twan's Life. I met him on that. Or not met him, but I heard about his, his journey. Yeah. Boss was laughing at me. Felicia Marie B says, I hope my husband doesn't go through a midlife crisis. He's already a wild child. Hey, he may go backwards, and just be like, I'm chilling out now. Who knows? Sometimes that happens. They do so much when they're younger, and then, as they get older, they're like, child, I'm chilling. I'm good. All I just give me a remote, give me a TV, give me something to drink, and I'm chilling, right? Some people are like that. So they do opposite. Yep. I know my husband, he got a motorcycle. His motorcycle is so pretty though. I ain't want him to get no motorcycle, y'all. I'm like, oh my God. Because all I can think of is I don't want you to get in no accident. Because you know how that goes. When they get an accident, sometimes it's, not good, right? It's detrimental. So yeah. But he's very good with it. He ended up at one point he started doing he decided to get a scooter. And I was like, okay, that's fine, because you're not gonna be able to get on the highway with a scooter, not really, because it only goes so fast. And so it was like a little, I guess it's a moped scooter, like I guess you would call it. But anyway, so yeah, I was fine with that. Then next thing you know, one of his friends was selling one of their Honda, I forgot what the name of it. It's a Honda something bike. And so it was a motorcycle, so that was his first motorcycle. So he was like, I want to get it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Then here he go when he's still. So we went to Daytona one time, and of course, they do the bike week in Daytona, normally in March and in October. So they call it different names, but anyway. So he ended up, we saw, all these bikes out there, real beautiful bikes, and it's normally a lot of Harleys. So you like, oh, I got my Honda, da 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 da, and then next thing you know, boo, I want a Harley. You do? I thought we was done. I thought we were done. I thought you were good. What's going on? So yeah, he had to get a Harley, y'all. He had to get a Harley. So then he had to fix it up. And I'm like, okay, that's all I want. That's all I want. Next thing you know, you want this, you want this, you want that to, fix the bike up like he really, really wanted. So yeah, midlife. Look, andropause. Oh my gosh. All right. So Grant said we met on a game night y'all were having months back. Okay. Okay, cool. Look at the game night. Look, game night meetup. Yes. Hazarine laughing at Felicia. Felicia said, "Oh, okay, Grant. See, your memory is better than mine. Oh Lord." And that's bad. That's bad FMB. Because you younger. What is going on? Bossman said, right. Hajarine, she laughing at Hajarine. Hello, she is Tamika, and Tamika is she. How are you doing, gorgeous? Oh my gosh. Let me see. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So Felicia says, I still want a gigantic teddy bear. But you also, yeah, I can understand. I can understand it. Yeah. 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 Okay. I'm gonna leave that alone. All right then. And some people still want it. Some people will. But I'm just saying, like as we got a little older, I'm like, don't want no big old teddy bear. Hey, Elle, how are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. I hope you're doing well tonight. Hope you're doing well, Elle. All right. She just said, hey to everybody. Felicia says, Grant, I can imagine you looking up the term baddie. Right. Hey, Chatty, someone called my wife a baddie. What does that mean? Right. Hello, Z. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Grant, somebody, yep. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Tamika said, yes, I love big bear. Okay, you love big bears. All right, yeah, I don't want no big bears. I don't want bears at all, okay, at this point in life. Yeah. I'm like, give me the money that you bought the bear with. Do that. Mm-hmm. Elle says, no, nice to see everyone. Yeah, maybe it was maybe it was the crew that I hung with. I don't know. I don't know. And of course, anything I say, it does not mean that it's one for all, right? You know. But that was our take on it. Grace says, Grant, just in case, I meant it cause she was killing it on the treadmill. Right, 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 right. I can't run, but I can walk. Okay, hey, and that's all that matters, right? As long as we get movement in, Grace, that's all that matters, honey. Walk, run, jog, whatever you're doing, okay? But she was getting it. You hear me? She was. And tell me, do we know what the song was? No, we do not. All I see is I see her moving, but it's jumping too at the same time because she was running. Like I don't know what this young lady's saying, but all I know is she is putting it in, honey. She getting it in, and she did a good job. So, Grant, did anybody ever figure out what your wife was singing? What Christy was singing? Because, honey, I didn't know nothing. I couldn't see one word. It was just, I was so excited for her exercising and running, and all I saw that ponytail was bopping back and forth. Yeah, it was too much going on for my eyes that I could not keep up. She said, yes, she loves running, Grace. Yes. Awesome, awesome. All right, yeah. Give me a level 2 walk, and that's good for me. Level 2 walk. I do jog a little bit, but not a lot, because I don't want that too much pounding on my knees. I'm a woman of a particular age, honey. All that pounding and pounding and pounding is too much for me. That's for me now, y'all. That's for me. That's not for everybody. It's just for me. All right. So let me see. Hold on. Trying to get them other stuff. All right. Uh-oh. Oh, Lord. It went off. I was on my little quest thing. I'm going to have to get back on it. Try to sign back in. Hold on. Let me sign back in. So I hope y'all week is going well so far. Let me get my little stuff. I need to get my information so I can sign back in. And hopefully everybody is making sure they get their all their, they're going to the doctor, checking their numbers. Remember, numbers are very important to make sure, like your blood work, making sure you're getting your blood work done from your doctor. I know a lot of people first part of the year try to hurry up and get everything done, every checkup they can done, so that they won't have to worry about it for the rest of the year, having to take off on work and things like that. Just go ahead and get it done and get it out the way. And then that way, if push comes to shove, you'll just do your follow-up appointments, or your or like if you have, you get sick or something like that, you'll go then. But try to get those first, a lot of people try to get those, those main appointments that you have to do every year. Go ahead and get them out, from the first quarter of the year. So I just want to make sure that you all are doing it, since this is a Women's Month. Make sure you're taking care of all the things that you need to take care of as far as, your doctor's appointments. So, you already know, most of you know, at least in the chat, know that, I have type 2 diabetes, I have high blood pressure, I have kidney disease, and I had some issues with some cholesterol. And so I'll make sure, I definitely have to go to all kinds of doctors to make sure that I'm okay. And a lot of the appointments are several times a year, and then at least twice a year for each person. So I'm like, I don't even need to go back to my PCP unless, I just go for my regular annual for them to check, the numbers that normally the other doctors don't check. And then that, of course, wellness of visit for your PCP, most of the time it's free, if not all the time it's free. The annual wellness visit. So even if you're not, you may be a man in the chat or in the bushes, or in the replay, you still need to make sure that you're knowing your numbers as well, going to that doctor. I know a lot of times with men, they shy away from the doctor, and some women do too. And we need to make sure that we are doing whatever we can do, preventative measures. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive. So if anything is wrong, if they find anything, I know a lot of people, of course, nobody wants to find negative wrong, right? Getting negative test results. But if we can find it and catch it early, then it's more likely that you will recover from it better. Okay, I'll say it that way. So say, for instance, if for some reason they find a lump in your breast, then, if they find it detected early, then it's easier for them to work, do what they need to do so that they can make sure that you can live a long, long life, right? So not saying that people that, took a while, that they can't live a long life too. But I'm just saying, the earlier, the better. Let's just leave it like that. The earlier, the better. You don't want to turn it to get any worse. Now, for instance, like my mom died of cancer. And so she had uterine cancer. And she was one that did not go to the doctor often, her nor my dad. And so, she ended up having, she didn't find out she had cancer until stage, they call it 3C, which is like pretty much stage 4. Yeah. And so she lived only a couple years after that. Fought a good fight, but yeah, she was out of here. So just thinking about that, for me, of course, during the 2020, I was kind of scared to go to the doctor. I was used to going to the doctor, but a lot of times I was, at that point after 2020, I was kind of nervous to go to the doctor or what have you, to get my checkups and everything. I would go at times when I needed, like check my blood work, get my blood work done, as far as, checking my my blood pressure and everything. But because they would make me come after so long of getting your refills, then they're like, okay, I'm not giving you any more until you come in. So then, of course, I was forced to go in. But if I wasn't forced to go in, I was not going in. And that happened for like 4 years. So if it wasn't for my, for me to get my my blood pressure medicine and my water pill, I was trying to avoid doctors and hospitals like the plague, right? And that's because, for one, I know a lot of people were going in with the big C, right? COVID. So I was like, yeah. And I know my immune system is compromised. So I was trying not to go to those doctors, right? As much as possible. With that being said, like, I could have had diabetes for years and didn't even know it. I know in 2020, I had my A1C, they were saying that it was like pre-diabetic stage. But of course, I try to do some things to try to alleviate it going to the diabetes range. but didn't know because, of course, like I said, I wasn't really getting checked. My A1C wasn't getting checked because I wasn't doing my annual appointment. So that's why I said we want to make sure that we're doing our appointments. So even if I did, find I had diabetes at the time, during that time, that 2020 to 2024, then I could have, it wouldn't have gotten to 15.1. So I'm not sure when it decided to go up to that point, but yeah, my I was talking to my husband one day. He was like, in 2024, he was like, you need to go to the doctor, because I had started feeling a couple of things, and he was like, you need to go to the doctor to find out what's going on with you. And not even talking about A1C wise, just talking in general. And he was one that loved, he would go to the doctor for anything. His mom and them, they used to go to the hospital for anything, doctors or what have you. So I was like, okay, I'll go. And so when I made my appointment, in July, that's when I went, and that's when I found I had the type 2 diabetes or what have you. And I knew I had, like I said, had the blood pressure, I had high blood pressure, I had kidney disease, had already had that. But then now, boom, here we go with diabetes. And then after I started my Manjaro journey and weight loss journey, I ended up, finding out my cholesterol went out of whack too. So, I had to start trying to figure some things out with that as well. So yeah, dealing with a lot of different comorbidities. But I'm doing pretty, I'm managing them pretty well now, you know, compared to what I did before back in the day when I only had like high blood pressure, or whatever. I wasn't doing good at all. Still would go to the doctor, but still wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. So that's why I try to advocate that we make sure that we're doing everything we can do. Yeah, right. And I know it may take time to get to the point where maybe we're eating the best type foods and everything, but you have to start somewhere and you have to progress. As long as you're moving forward, that's what matters. That's what matters. So, and then at some point you will get to that. I know a lot of people they're like, I don't like drinking water. Well, we need water. We need water to flush our kidneys, flush our systems out. Just that's for instance. A lot of people I just hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So you have to find something to try to make you start, being able to tolerate it. Maybe putting a little bit of lemon juice in it, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. Maybe, saying, what, I'm going to make myself drink 6 ounces of water with my food. And then if I need something later on after I eat, then I will get, whatever other drink, sugary drinks that we would want to, that we would want, so you have to find ways to try to incorporate these things, like, okay, I can't drink, but say for some reason I can't get past drinking two cups of water a day. Then what you can do is say, what, every hour I'm gonna, drink a little bit of water, 4 ounces, 8 ounces of water. 8 ounces of water is pretty easy to, even if you just take it back, to the head like you're doing a shot, try to get it all in. That may help you. So sometimes we have to, like I said, tweak things to try to make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do so that we can, live healthier. We want to live healthy. We want to live long. We want to make sure that we can do as much as we can in this lifetime. Life is short. Life is short. So yeah, try to do as much as you possibly can. But knowing those numbers, going to those doctor visits, making sure you're doing what you need to do for yourself, that's so important. That's so important. And a lot of times women, because we're so used to, taking care of other people, we neglect ourselves. And we don't want to neglect ourselves. We want to make sure that we are, taking care of ourselves first. We talked about it before. I have to take care of me first so that I can better take care of, my loved ones or my friends, or whatever, or even within this community. Yes, we going well. Wonderful, Tamika. Wonderful. Felicia says my dermatologist just put an order in for my labs, but I need some from my weight loss doctor. Gotcha. Yep. Mm-hmm. Good, good, good. Felicia. Felicia says also if I get a pap smear done, my insurance will give me $100 gift card. Now that's awesome right there. So they begging people to come, right? They're like, come on, honey, I'm gonna give you an incentive to come because they want to make sure that we are as healthy as we can be. So that's awesome, Felicia. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Grant says you deserve that $100 after being going through that. Right, Grant. Felicia says. Elle says, very sorry about your mom, Kim. That's okay. It's okay, sweetheart. Thank you for that. Yep. At least I know when she closed her eyes, she was able to be with the Lord, right? So, which is what we all, well, what most of us want, right? Z says, had mammogram and DEXA scan done a few weeks ago. A1C check last week. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I hope that went well for you, Z. Grace says FMB, that's a generous insurance. Yes, that's awesome. Just trying to get more people to come in, you know. And like I said, it's not just women; it's Women's Month, so I'm talking women, but it's also men too. Men have to make sure they're getting checkups as well, because a lot of them shy away from it, thinking, "Oh, I'm macho, you know, I'm okay, I'm wait, you know," and then you wait on things to happen to you, you know, before you go, and then sometimes, like I said, I'd be a little too late. Says I'm supposed to have my first mammogram, but I'm scared. I understand that. I do understand, you know, why you could be scared, you know, to do it. But if you think about, you know, um, you get it done, you know, pray about it before you go in there. Go ahead and get it done because you don't want to hear the alternative if something goes wrong, right? So, like I said, you want to make sure that you're being proactive with getting it done. You know, do it afraid. Yep, and make sure that you'll be okay. You know that you're okay. All right. I remember my first mammogram I did. It wasn't at 40 because normally I want you to get it done at 40, unless something, you know, you have some kind of issues like within your family history, or you know you had some issues before age 40. But if you're a healthy, you know, and where you know how you go and get your pap smears done, they always do a breast exam, and if everything is okay when the doctor does the breast exam, then normally they don't want you to go come into your 40 unless they don't change the ages now. And they something. Matter of fact, let me look at this. Curious Kim is coming out. Hold on, she's coming. She's here. Um, all right. So yep, it's still recommended for women. It says for women at average risk, experts generally recommend starting annual or um, some kind of or you know just a screening. I should say screening of mammograms at age 40. Okay, while some guidelines suggest starting at 45 or 50. It just depends, I guess, probably on your insurance. But a lot of insurance companies say 40, age 40. Okay. So yes, do it afraid. You're gonna be okay. But when I did my first one, I think I was 41 or 42. And when I did it, they saw something, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So now I'm extremely scared. Okay. And but when they did, you know, I had to go get them another person check it, another you know facility to go check it again. They did a sonogram on me or ultrasound, and then you know they had a biopsy scheduled as well. But when they looked into it, they saw that it was like a diagnostic, I guess it would be called. I had to get a diagnostic ultrasound. And when they saw it, it was like, it's perfectly round, so you're good to go. I didn't have to do actual biopsy or anything. They were like, it's just a cyst. Cysts come and go. Sometimes they'll go, I mean, stay forever. But even if they do, if they're not bothering you, we won't bother it. And then they, you know, every year after they'll, you know, you still gonna get your breast exam every year afterwards. But you know, they'll mark that little spot so they'll know, okay, we're going to monitor that, make sure it doesn't, you know, get any bigger, or, you know, make sure it doesn't hurt or, you know, become very bothersome or things like that. And then, you know, make sure it doesn't, you know, form a different way, start, you know, looking weird or whatever, like forming all, you know, not the perfectly round like it was. So yeah, so that's what they do. Anytime they find anything that, you know, that looks odd in your breast. Okay. And then if you have dense breasts, then it's harder for them to see through, you know, as far as, you know, being able to detect if there's something, but you'll be okay. You'll be okay. I pray for you that everything works well. Go ahead and get that taken care of, L. You'll be all right. But I just want to let, you know, people know my experience as we're talking about this today. Um, all right. Felicia Marie B says, Grace, it's because I haven't had one done in years. They're trying to get me, see, trying to get me to get one done. There you go. What I was saying. Okay, so Felicia said, that's great, Z. Boss Lady said, yes, go get that done. Felicia Marie B, yes. And L, yes. Do men get mammograms? They can. I don't think they actually, you know, have them get it. Um, let's see. I think if they, you know, if for some reason a man feels something on their chest, um, you know, they will have to get something. But routine mammograms are not generally recommended for men, as breast cancer is rare in men. It's about 1 out of 1,000 risk. So they're not, you know, they're not recommending that for men. However, doctors may recommend them for men with symptoms of lumps, pain, or discharge, you know, in their nipple. A strong family history of breast cancer, genetic mutations, or prior chest radiation. That's when they will, you know, offer them that screening. All right, Grace says, L, pray I can relate. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You're welcome, sweetheart. Okay, so Tamika said I was scared too, L, but they are nice and understanding. It doesn't hurt at all. So thank you, Tamika, for saying that. When it comes down to you know, the if it, you know, is uncomfortable or not. Normally, if you're smaller, you know, if your bust is smaller, then you know it may. I've heard that it doesn't hurt, but if you have larger breasts, then it can be a little bit more discomforting. Again, I rather know what I need to know, you know, and make sure everything is okay instead of wondering and never checking and never finding out. So that's why, you know, like I said, we want to go anyway. So even though I know, like for me, it kind of is bothersome to me sometimes, especially I'm short and they be having the thing all up. And I'm like, now I'm like almost on my tippy toes trying to make sure it doesn't like grab the, you know, how you go to the breast and then it go like down, you know, to through your, what is it, where your stomach is or whatever. Sometimes that it'll pinch it, and if you're not really moisturized, you know, really good, then sometimes it can tear it a little bit, you know, whatever, your skin. But make sure you stay moisturized and you won't have that problem, and you should be okay. Because I realized that, and then make sure you let that the sonographer know, hey, this is hurting. You know, if it does hurt, because then they'll adjust the machine for you. That way you can be as comfortable as you can. And normally, I know the sonographers that I that's in my office, she's very very gentle with me, especially because she know I do have larger breasts. So she's like, okay, let me be a little bit more gentle with her, you know, whatever. So yeah, it's still worth getting. In other words. All right. She said, thank you, Tamika. You're welcome, sweetheart. All right. Hello, Positive T. How you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. I didn't get your email, Positive T. Did you find my email address on my description under my page, my home page? Hello, Shiny. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. So, y'all, we're talking about women's health because it's Women's Health Month, but we also, you know, a little bit here and there may say something about men tonight. Even if you're a man and you may not, of course, resonate with I'm talking about women's health, but you can because, of course, again, just reiterating from earlier that you do have someone in your family, you know, or that you speak with, that in relationship with, that is a woman, you know, whether it's a friend, a spouse, or you know, a family member, whoever, you know, could be a best friend. it's good to know, because when it comes to relationships, you want to know about each other. You want to understand, what, each sex is going through, so that you'll understand better when you have to, commune with these, each other. Driving to listen. Okay, thank you, Shiny. Thanks for listening, sweetheart. All right, Tier. Oh, all right. Hello, Positive T and Shiny. Felicia says them positioning you is annoying. Pinching. Thank God I have flapjack. Stop it. She know what she got flapjacks. Right, Felicia Marie B. Yeah. It can like I said, it can be bothersome, but if you have the right sonographer, I think that's what they call. Um I know when they're doing the sonograms they are, but if you have the right technician, then they're very gentle with you, and they try to, be careful, but like I said, make sure you're very moisturized, that day, so you won't have any cracks or whatever. It can happen, but you want to make sure you're moisturized. Positive says, no, I need your email. Okay, hold on. I'm typing in the thing in the chat. All right, there it is. Positive T. All right. Hello, Ruth. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. She says, hey, Kim J and beautiful people. Yes. Hope you're doing well, sweetie. All right, that's my email, y'all. For those who are looking for it. Okay, so let me go back. Let me go on my thing here. I need to get back into this little thing. I got to get back to my quest real quick so I can go over my numbers real quick with you all. Not all of them, but just some of them, the ones that I think is good to talk about. Okay. I'm signing in now. Good people. All right. So my doctor requested a lipid panel, which is, I say, I don't know if I can show you all this stuff. I don't know what to show all this. Might be a lot. All right. I don't know where my information, like my personal information. So I'm not putting on a thing. I need to look at it and learn, see how it goes before I start sharing stuff on the screen. All right. Because I don't want no personal information on the screen, because anybody could be looking, of course. So I'm looking at the screen. Y'all see me, but I can't see y'all. The chat. All right. So my HDL, I had reported, a while back that my HDL, had gone bonkers. It went low. Okay. HDL cholesterol. And the range, they wanted to be like 50 milligrams per deciliter or up, right? And it was under, it was like 40, I think 46 or something like that. It went down. And I don't remember it being, let me see if it'll show me. I know on my phone it gives me like a trending, but I don't see a trend here. Let me see if it says overtime. Let me see what it says. Hold on. Okay, I do see the trend. So over time, it shows like, say, November 20. Oh, it's hot again. November 2024, or I should say, maybe I should say before November 2024, it was at like 46. And then when I got it again, January, that was, what day was that? That was September of 2024. Okay. Which was right after my journey started. All right. Which, remember, it's supposed to be 50 or more. All right. Then it went to 42, January 14th of 2025. Then it went up to 45, May 2027, 2025. And so I decided to go ahead on, I talked, of course I was talking to my doctors about it, and they were They hadn't done nothing at that point, but I was using two different what you call it, diagnostic centers. So some of the stuff is not on here from the other diagnostic center, but I remember at some point it did go up a little. It did go up from the last time I had reported it to y'all, and it was on the other diagnostic centers report. But just to say now, as of today, not today, but as of 2/17, it's back up in the normal range. So it's 56 now. So that's awesome. So I'm keeping working up on that. I'm keeping working on that to make sure it goes up even more. Because again, it should be 50 or more. Okay. For the HDL. So that's awesome. Yay, Kim J. All right. So my LDL cholesterol, it was 9.4. It was 100 and let me say this. It should be, let me go back to the other thing. All right, so the LDL, which is your bad, so the HDL, y'all, what I was just talking about, it is that's your good cholesterol. All right, and then so my LDL cholesterol, which is the bad, they call it the bad cholesterol, that they want it to be under 100. However, if you are diabetic, okay, I don't know what CHD is. Shawnee, if you have a chance, or someone in the chat, do you know what CHD is? I can look it up. Because they said it needs to be more. It needs to be less than 70 milligrams per deciliters for patients with CHD or diabetic patients with more than 2 CHD risk factors. So let me see what CHD is, because I never looked that up. Congenital heart disease is what it says, some kind of defect. So for those people, or that people that are diabetic, okay, if you have congenital heart disease or diabetic, they want your LDL numbers to be under 70, or 70 and under, I should say, or under 70, right? Milligrams per deciliter. So mine right now, well, let me go over time. So over time, for my LDL, it was 9/4/2024, which is right after I started my Manjaro journey. It was 118, okay, which is not good. It was high, and then it was 113 January 14, 2025. Then it went to 130. So it just got worse. Okay. May 27, 2025. But now, y'all, it's at 100. Okay. Still not in the normal range, but right on the cups. What is it? Cups? I don't know how you say it. Right at the normal range, right? Right at the normal range. So they want you under 100. So that's awesome. Awesome for me with that. Let me go back to the current real quick. All right, so let's see. Trying to find the LDL on here. All right, so that's HDL. Okay, here it is. All right, so yes, so I'm still needing to work on that because I do have diabetes. I still need to work on that so that I can get to under 70. Okay, I'm right at 100. I need to be under 100 for it to be good, but under 70 for it to be, optimum for a person that has diabetes. Okay. So I'm still working on that. Now, what I'm doing with that for the HDL and the LDL, I kind of talked to you all about it before. What I have been doing with trying to, make sure I'm, making sure that LDL goes down, making sure that HDL go up, the good cholesterol go up, the bad cholesterol go down. I am taking omega-3 fish oil, also a CoQ10. There is one two in one pill. Both of those in one pill. I take that every day. And also I make sure I watch my saturated fats. I watch my saturated fats. I don't eat as much saturated fat as I was before. So that's what I've been doing. My doctor, actually, my endocrinologist, which actually managed my diabetes, but he also, have given me my hormone replacement therapy um, last month, medication, as well as, he can, speak to me about my cholesterol and everything too. Um, he wants me to get on medication, but I also talked to my PCP, and she said she would not recommend the medication just yet. She thinks that doing the omega 3s and the CoQ10s, give that a chance first before I jump on the medication. So of course I didn't really want to get on statins, what have you. So he gave me something else that I could use. So he did send it in to the doctor, but I decided to do the CoQ10 omega 3, and it is bringing it down. It's bringing it down. So that's awesome. I'm happy about that. And I have not been taking them that long. So that's good. I'm not telling y'all to do this. This is something that I just do this is what I'm doing. And it's working for me, or what have you. I am still thinking about going on and getting a prescription medicine, because I'm like, maybe that would help me go ahead and get down to that 70 as quick as possible. So, and then maybe wean myself off, later on. So we shall see about that. I'll let y'all know, when I decide what I'll do with that. Let's see what else is there. Um, my triglycerides. My triglycerides is 65. That's where I'm at now. Let's see if they tell me what it was. Okay, so um 9/4/2024, it was 76, and now it's 65. So that's good. 74 is in the normal range too, but 65 is even better. So that's going down as well. That's helping me, especially taking those omega 3s. That's helping, with those that medicine I'm taking, the supplement, that's helping me out with that as well. So that's awesome. And then, like I said, not eating as much saturated fat, being very careful with my saturated fat. And then let's see, and that's in foods and everything. And then my glucose, y'all. So I'm done with the cholesterol part. My glucose, it is 82 now. That's what it was. My fasting, 82. Okay. Let me see if it shows me over time. And of course, your fasting glucose, it fluctuates. So that's like after you fast, overnight and everything, they tell you to not don't eat after 12 o'clock, a.m. And then you go to your appointment, and then they check you haven't had anything but maybe water. Yes. So it fluctuates. So like at different times, like it was 81 one time I went, it was 79 one time I went, 83, 80, 92, 83, 78, and this particular time here it was 82. So that's how my glucose was. So that's good, because you want it between 65 and 90. Well, they saying 65 and 99. It just depends on the diagnostic center report, what they report as normal versus abnormal or whatever. But I know what they normally tell us is you want your glucose 70, to 100, okay? Anywhere between 70 and 100, your fasting glucose. But for diabetics, it can go up to 126 or 130. You're fasting, okay? So yay, that sounds awesome for me. Um, all right, and then let me see. They have my A1C on this report. And my A1C. Now, when it comes to my A1C, you all know that my A1C was 15.1. July 4th, I think it was 3rd or 4th of 2024, which is when I found out I had diabetes. That's crazy high, crazy high. Where I had to go to the hospital because it was so high. And then September 4th of 2024, it had gone down to 9. Okay. I'm sorry. It had gone down to 8.6. Okay. So from August to September, it had gone down 7 points. Awesome, awesome. And a lot of that had something to do with me taking insulin. I was taking a what you call it, a fast acting insulin, which would I took right before I ate my foods, and then like my meals, and then I took a slow acting insulin at night. That's when I first, found out I had diabetes after I got at the hospital. That's what I had to come home and do. And then like 3 weeks later, that's when I started my Manjaro journey, which was July 30th to 2024. And with that, it ended up by that time I was already at 12 point something. I can't remember the point after the point, but yeah, I was already at 12. So I had already gone down 3 points. And then by September, I was down to 8.6. Okay. So I was taking off the insulin, and I went on Jardiance. So I was doing Jardiance and Manjaro at that time. And then by December, they took me off of Jardiance because my sugars were going low, too low, which is another reason why they took me off of the insulin as well. In September, my sugar started going low, or whatever. I was getting too much. And so that's when they wound up putting me on Jardiance. Around December, I had to get off of Jardiance, and then I just went straight Manjaro. Went up to 7.5 milligram doses. He thought everything was gonna be all right. Would never had no more, low blood sugars. I would have been good. All right. So then January, when I went back to the doctor and got my blood work checked, 1/14/2025, my instead of 15.1 in July, it was down to 5.6. So it was not just Manjaro, it was not just insulin or Jardiance. It was also me doing what I was supposed to do as far as everything I could do, eating low carb, a low carb diet. That helped me out a lot. Get my walking in, my exercise in, making sure I'm getting my water in, just all the things, like they say, all the things. And that helped me out a lot. So January, again, it was 5.6. May of 2025, it was 5.5. November of 2025, it was 5.4. So it's going down. We're in the normal range. When it went to 5.6, that was the normal range. And so again, July 11th of 2025 was 5.4. And then February 17, 2026, it is 5.3. So it's going down. Awesome, awesome, Kim J. Great stuff. Now, since then, I've told you all before I had to up my carbs because even on just Manjaro alone, I have sugar lows. So yeah, I had to go from the 7.5 back down to the 5 because of that. So now my kidneys. All right. So that I have stage 3 kidney disease, and then I'm done with this part. Stage 3 kidney disease. And so with that being said, the few things that I know about when it comes to kidney disease, that my markers are the creatine levels and the EGFR levels. Those are the main ones that I look at, and the protein levels. So let me talk about the creatine. I'm saying creatine. Sorry, the creatinine levels and the EGFR levels is what the main two that I look at. But then also, if they did the protein, check my protein levels, then I'll look at that as well. But so my creatinine, which is creatinine. All right, they said the reference range of that should be 0.50 to 1.3 milligrams per deciliters. That's the normal range. And with that, with it being stage 3, it's normally a little higher than that. So 1.47 when I took my blood work back in September, 1.48, 1.27, 1.09, which now of course is going down some. 1.13, that was in March of 2025. It went back up to 1.4, 1.32, and for some reason in February of this year, it was up even higher to 1.52. So I got to do some more things, tweaking of that, because that's not good for it to go back up. Okay. So, yeah, because it's the highest it has been. The 1.52 February 17, 2026 is the highest it's been. Yeah. So in what is that, since what is that, almost 2 years, like a year and a half. That's the highest it's been. So I got to, get control over that. Also, better control. But you see how it's fluctuating, back and forth, back and forth. When it comes to EGFR, now they want the EGFR over 60, okay, over 60 milliliters. All right. So remember, I have stage 3 kidney disease, so it's not going, more than likely it's not going to be over 60. Okay. The range for stage 3, let me look and see. Hold on, because I don't remember the exact range. Hold on. It's from 30 to 59 milliliters. Okay. 30 to 59. All right. So September 4th, 2024, it was 43. 11 of 2024, it was 43. Um, January of 2025, it was 51. Then it shot up to 62. February of 2025, which is good. Okay, I mean, it went over. But then again, March of 4th, 2025, it was 59. Now, one of these where I went to the endocrinologist, and then not even, but a month later, it was back down to 59. So from 62 to 59. Then it went down some more, where May 27, 2025 was 46. September 2025 was 49. I'm sorry. So it's up and down, up and down. And then February 17th, 2026, it was 41. So what I know, because they don't, when it comes to kidneys, doctors don't really tell you all that you, like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and all that stuff. They don't tell you that stuff. They normally don't give you a regimen until, like a strict regimen, until you go, I guess, to stage four, or like if it's, I guess, very, very low stage 3, that's when they kind of start, like, okay, you need to stop this, you need to stop that, whatever. But for me, when I talk to my kidney doctor, he tries to just make sure, most kidney doctors is trying to make sure you don't go down any further. Okay. You don't go from stage 3 to stage 4, and if it is, what we need to do something drastic about it or what have you. So sometimes I'm at stage 2, sometimes it's stage 3. It just depends, but they, like I said, it fluctuates just like your glucose fluctuates. It just depends on, that moment. But I did notice that when I had gone to the hospital back in 2024, um, and I can't go further back on this particular thing, and that was before September, of course, of 2024. I noticed my numbers did go up. My creatinine went down to a good number, and my EGFR went up, and it, to a good number. But then, over 60. But then it went back down, went right back down. So what they told me is, the ER doctor told me that I need to make sure I stay hydrated. I need to make sure I stay hydrated. I do not need to go dehydration. If I get dehydrated, then that's what affects those numbers. So if I make sure I stay hydrated, then, it appears better. That's why I was saying earlier in the chat, we need to make sure that we're drinking, we're staying hydrated, so that those kidneys can filter out, you can help it. It's easier for it to filter out whatever it needs to filter out. So yes. Now for me, my doctor told me I can drink, hold on, y'all. My doctor told me I can drink, up to 90 ounces of water. I asked him, I said, what about 100? Because at that point I was feeling myself, because I was drinking a lot of water, because I was exercising a lot outside. And of course I got, I needed the water, need to replenish myself. But then when winter came, I could not drink a lot of water at all. It was like, I cannot get this water in for that in the world. So now I'm like, gulping down water at night, trying to get as much as I can get in. Then I'm up in the middle of the night using the bathroom over and over again, whatever, because I knew I needed to get it. But sometimes I just could not get enough of it. So normally my sweet spot when it comes to water is maybe about 80 to 90 is a sweet spot for me to get those numbers to stay up over 60, or what have you. So, of course, like I said, we just left winter. Well, some of us, I'm in Florida, so we pretty much our winter is pretty much gone. But I have to make sure that I am very, very strategic when it comes to getting my water in, so that my stuff, so that the things in my body can flush out or what have you. But just think, if I did not go to the doctor, I would not know anything. I wouldn't know what my numbers were. I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know, how to make things better for myself. What can I do to make myself better? Not just take the medicine, but do the natural things that I can do to get these things, you know, um, looking better for me. Again, I want a healthy life. I want a long life, and just because I have the comorbidities I have does not mean that that God can't heal me of these things. It doesn't mean that I can't, reverse some of these things, so I'm trying to do as much as I can. A lot of times with what I have going on, it's hard. I even went to a weight loss doctor, y'all. I'm like, let me go to this weight loss doctor. I got an endocrinologist for my, my diabetes. I have, a kidney doctor, a nephrologist for my kidneys. I got my regular PCP for just regular, wellness, all, overall. I got a heart doctor, to check my heart. I got so many different doctors. Why not I have a weight loss doctor? Let me get a weight loss doctor too. So I went started on this weight loss doctor. I went there twice, 2 times. The first time I went there, she was like, well, she was like, why are you in here? Because you're losing weight. And I'm like, yeah, but I have all these other doctors. Why not have you too? So I can see, because my weight loss had kind of slowed down a little bit. And I'm like, so I want to optimize, the weight too, the weight loss of it, and so, she talked to me about it. She was like, well, normally what we do when you're not losing as much weight, we'll tell you eat low carb, very low carb, or make sure you get very high protein. But I'm like, but I have diabetes and my sugars are going low. So I can't, go any lower on carbs, because then my sugar it's going to go lower, right? So I got to be careful with that. And so she was like, yeah, you're right, you're right. So then she said, well, up your protein. That's what we'll tell the people. I can't go but so high on the protein because of my kidneys. We have to be careful with people that have kidney disease. You have to be careful with how much protein you take in, as well as how much, water you take in. Okay. So very important. That's why it's good to go to a nephrologist, because they can help you really, really with that. But, so I'm like, I can't go, over, 100 with my protein and my water, so, and I'm saying like 100, what is it, grams per day? Yeah. So, and with the water's ounces, of course. So she was like, "Yep, you're right about that." So she was like, "I say so." My appointment was over, and I was like, "Well, y'all check it out. Y'all think about it. What y'all think? Y'all got some homework to do. Try to figure out what I can do to make me lose, more weight." Because at that time in in 2024, I was losing over 2 pounds a week. Okay, taking the medication, Manjaro, as well as, exercise and eating low carb. I started, I was walking a lot, as well as strength, and then I started strength training in December. So 3 times a week, well, 2 times a week, and then one time I was doing aerobics. So, but I was always getting my walking in and everything. So yeah, she was just like, "Oh my gosh, you got to see a special case." So she tried to. I guess she was going to try to come up with something. So I was like, "Okay, I got your homework, whatever." So then I left on out or whatever. And so I went back to the next appointment. When I went to the next appointment, that lady was like, "Baby, listen, you got all these doctors, and you got a dietitian. You need to make them do what they're supposed to do, because I can't even help you." Of course, I felt bad. I felt sad. I was upset. I'm like, "What?" She was like, "Why you losing the weight, what have you? And I can't tell you to go up in protein, and I can't tell you to go down in in your carbs." So I'm kind of like, I don't know what to tell you. And so she was like, just get with your doctors and everything, and have them try to help you out or what have you. And Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, y'all hit the like button. Yeah, she was like, just have them, check you out and see what's going on. And hopefully they'll be able to help you, lose even more. But you're losing the weight or whatever. So yeah, that was funny to me. After a while, I thought about it, hindsight, I was like, she was just trying to look out for me so I won't be giving her money and she can't do nothing for me, because she could have kept me, oh yeah, come on back, and I still can't help me with nothing. She'll be taking my money for no reason. So I do appreciate her, but it was like hindsight. It took me a minute to kind of, process that. Like, I'm like, why is she kicking me out of the, out of this, the system or whatever. So yeah. Hello, Money. How you doing, honey? Thanks for coming in, sweetheart. Money, I tried to get, if you're still here, I tried to get on I talked to my insurance company about going to use, what's your nutritionist name? Your dietitian. Uh Nourish. Nourish. Because I love the way you talk about how your dietitian be helping you. It seems like she's taught you so much. I always, I don't talk to you about it anyway before. But yeah, I was trying to see if they would allow me to do Nourish, use Nourish as my dietitian, and it's a no. They won't let me do telehealth with dietitian. I'm like, I want to go there so bad. My dietitian, she's okay, but a lot of the stuff they were like, when I was, seeing my dietitian or my doctors, they like, girl, you're doing everything. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. Keep up the good work. You're losing the weight. Your numbers looking better. You good. And I'm like, they like, you got any questions? I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's I want somebody to tell me something else. I don't know what I want to hear, but I want I want to hear something else. Hello, Vanessa. How you doing? I just want to make sure I'm doing everything I can, because again, I want a better health span and I want a better lifespan. I'm probably doing the most, y'all. Oh my gosh. Shani says, when I just had my mammogram, the mammography technologies. Okay. All right, let's see who else. All right, Shana says, okay, the technologist told me I lost so much breast tissue from my last one. She said, girl, what's your size now? She could press down more this time. It hurt this time. See? But Shani's been blessed too. God has blessed Shani as well. Grace says congenital heart defects. Okay, okay. Yep. Thank you for that, Grace. Coronary heart disease. Oh Lord. Let me see. What did I say it was? Did I? Oh, I don't know if I. Let me see if I got it on the other thing. I got a lot of different stuff up. Let me see. Did I move it? Congenital heart disease. That's it, Grace. That's the first one. Is it what you said? All right. Sean said, just realize I'm on a delay. No, you good. You good. You good. Bossway said, what is the difference between A1C and glucose? So you got your A1C. I don't know if Bossway's still in here. You have A1C. They're going to test your, they're doing a test 3 months of your glucose, how it's doing. Okay. And then what the average is of the 3 months. Okay. I don't know how they're able to do it, honey, but it is amazing that they can do that. So what's the average of your readings, your glucose readings within a 3 month period of time, or 6 months? Some people do 6 months, but normally 3 months. And then your glucose is at that moment, when you prick your finger with your say like a glucometer, then you prick your finger. Sometimes they'll prick you at the doctor's office, but like for people with diabetes, they have to prick your finger, and you're supposed to prick it like, well, it depends on what your doctor say, because sometimes my doctor told me twice a week, but I do it every day because I know I was still having low blood sugars. But yeah, I prick it every morning for my fasting glucose, just to know how it is in that morning. But that would be whatever the glucose level is at that moment. Now, 2-3 moments from now, it could be something else. But at that time, when I get, prick my finger and get that little blood, put it on that little lancet, I'm sorry, the test strip, then whatever that number is, that's the glucose. All right, so A1C again, I done pulled it up. A1C measures your average blood glucose over 2 to 3 months, while and most people they do 3 months. But like when I was in the hospital, I was at 15.1. They did my A1C. They checked my A1C every seemed like 2 minutes because they had to make sure they checked it a lot so that they can make sure I'm down to where I need to be before I left the hospital. Um, and they did it too up until I got down, I guess, to the 8.6. And that's when they kind of slowed down on the checking of it and went back to the every 3 months or every 5 months for me. Because they wanted to make sure whatever they gave me as far as medicine, that it was working properly. Okay. So so it says A1C measures your average blood glucose over 2 to 3 months, while glucose blood sugar tests provide a real time snapshot. Okay. So A1C reflects long term control without requiring fasting, whereas daily glucose monitoring captures immediate highs or lows, but are essential. I'm sorry, both are essential. A1C gives a memory of management, while daily checks guide daily decisions. Okay. So if I go under 70 milligrams per deciliter, if that little monitor tells me I'm under 70, that means my sugars are too low and I need to get in the kitchen ASAP. Okay. To get some kind of real sugar to get in my body. And then after I do that, then I'm supposed to check my sugar again and make sure it goes up, to a specific number that my doctor gives me. And then after that, then I need to eat a balanced meal. Okay. Which means when I say balanced, I'm saying carbs and protein or carbs and fiber. So I can, kind of balance it on out and it won't go back down. Hello, Tanya Bell. How are you doing? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for coming in, sweetheart. Hope you're doing well. Grace says a little pill with a big story to tell. That Jardians. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I heard y'all that some people are being taken off of Manjaro too. So I know people were being insurance company or PBMs or whoever powers to be was making not covering Zepbound anymore, right? But some people are being kicked off of Manjaro as well. And I guess I said kicked off Manjaro as well, or Ozempic, the GLP-1 medications. And they're maybe putting them back on, say, like, maybe a Jardians. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Because their sugars or their A1C is down, pretty, good in the normal range. So that had me scared. Like I heard, some people saying it, within our platform and our community, like some of the content creators, as well as some of the, supporters. But yeah, they are tripping about these GLP. They don't want to pay for the GLP-1s for nothing in the world. Sound like it. All right. So Z says, Grace, you watch too much TV. Right. That's a running joke, Z, through these YouTube streaks with the people that are on, they're diabetic. Grant says A1C is a reading based on 2 to 3 months of average glucose readings. Okay, there you go, there you go. Thank you, Grant, for that. Uh-oh. Grace said she's laughing at Z. She said, "I wish that ad is. I swear that ad is everywhere. Right, right, all right. What are the symptoms of CKD? I didn't have symptoms of CKD, to be honest. I didn't have symptoms. But yes, if your creatinine is under a certain, I'm sorry, is high, and your which means is a high range, and your EGFR is in a low at a under 60, then that means you have that signs of CKD, of course. But symptoms. So this is what they say. Extreme fatigue, swelling in ankles and feet, which I don't have that. Foamy or, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one. Blood, foamy or blood tinged urine. So if you have some blood in your urine, a little bit of blood in your or a foamy urine. So you know how you go to the bathroom and you see the little bubbles. You may have seen some bubbles in the in the stool. That could mean that you have CKD. Persistent itching, Like if your back was itching a lot and everything, for some reason your skin is itching, just feel like, you just itching all the time. All right. Muscle cramps, high blood pressure, decreased mental sharpness. Those are some of the, the symptoms. All right. And sometimes, like I said, a lot of times people don't feel the symptoms. They don't know that is, what's going on. So again, even though you may not have kidney disease or you may not have diabetes or whatever, it's always good to, still, listen in, because, you never know. That way you'll know what to look for. All right. Bossway says, I was 67 last week, which is her EGFR. So she's stage 2. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Miss Bossway. All right. I didn't have any symptoms. See? Okay. All right. Kendi K, all day. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. OMG, I just mentioned kidney function and regular lab work on Top Shop Talk. Wow, 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 wow. Yes, yes, yes. So look, God must have wanted to be in the free, in these YouTube streets tonight, honey. If we both mentioned it, we didn't even know. Grant says drinking water is my main challenge right now. So yes, Grant, you gotta find some way to get that water in, sweetheart. And like I said, a lot of times, when in the wintertime, you're not as thirsty as much, and then you, especially on a GLP-1, you talking about thirst and you talking about eating. Sometimes both of them are low. It's hard to get both of them in, but that's when you have to be strategic. Like, Hajarine, she's, put on her page, her channel, a good schedule so she can keep drinking her water, to know when she can drink it. And she shared with, on her page about it. So if you want to go on Hydrine's page and check it out, yeah. So you can, have a little schedule or whatever. I know, like I think I want to say my health app on my phone. I have Samsung, so my Samsung Health app, I think it shows something about water, as well as like where you can, say how much water you're drinking. There are apps out here that it can ping, alarm you when it's time to drink again. They have water bottles that, will let you know where you're at, when it comes to drinking. So it's different ways to that you can, you know, I guess put into place so that you can, get that water in as much as you can. You need to definitely get at least 64 ounces in. That's recommended. I'll say that. But again, read my little disclaimer below. I'm not your doctor. I don't know what you're supposed to do, because it depends on if you have, say, renal kidney disease, or, like you're like in stage 4 and 5. I know they have to like really dial down the protein and the water. So Kenny K says, I just refilled my 20-ounce Care Bear cup. Oh, Care Bear. Y'all remember Care Bears? Oh, I used to love the Care Bears. Yes. All right. G Money. He is in the building. Yes. Kenny K says, once I add some electrolytes to the water or lemon cucumbers, it's delicious. Okay, yes. Sometimes I add lemon. I do have electrolytes that I can just put in my water, and it barely have a taste. It's called Body Tech. I got it from Vitamin Shop. That's very taste. It's very, very little taste if you taste it at all. Cucumbers, yep. Some people put cucumber, some fruit, just fruit in general. Some people do watermelon, cantaloupe, cucumbers. Just depends on what you like. Just try different things. Some people drink, just different type water, like the spring water versus the filtered water versus a alkaline water, which is really good for your gut health. In different parts of health, the alkaline water. You know, it's you can do a watermelon, whatever. Knowing your numbers is super important. Yes, yes. And I did a video on that too, about knowing your numbers. Very important. Thank you for that, Kenny K. Felicia says my dad has CKD from age, okay, because he's older. Sometimes age does catch up with you, but water helps a lot. But of course, there's a limit to his water intake. Yes, 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 yes. So some people are like, oh, get a gallon of water in. Everybody can't do that. That's why I always say check with your doctors, because you just never know. You may be, doing overkill, or you may be hurting yourself more than helping yourself. Especially listening at, these people on us, not just these people, us, in our journeys or whatever. It's good sometimes to hear what we're talking about, because you can get some good information even from our journeys. I told you before, the nurse, when I was being discharged from the hospital when I first found out about diabetes, she said, find your community. We're here for you, but you have to, get an appointment to see them, right? Or you have to, go into the portal and, like do a little message to them. But when you can hear people that's actually going through it, every single day, find out what their testimony is, find out, what's helping them. Then what you can do is you write some stuff down, you take it to your doctor's visit, and you let them know, hey, this is what I heard, my friend. I'll be quick to say, look, I had a friend, one of my friends on YouTube, they told me, I may not say YouTube, but I'm just saying, they told me I should get, 100 ounces of water. That's what helped them out, when it comes to their EGFR, and they'll let me know. Well, that might be too much for you, Kim J. You need to, you can't go over 90 or whatever the case may be. So in other words, I'm talking to them and seeing if it's okay to do this, or what have you. When it came to hormones, I was like, okay, what about these bioidentical hormone replacement? What about that? I knew about that from YouTube, listening at, some of you all on YouTube. I didn't know about that before, so yeah. With the significant weight loss, do you still, oh, I'm sorry. Grace says, Hajreen, that's so scary. Yes, it can be very scary, very, very scary. All right. But guess what? It don't have to be scary either. Look, we know the information, right? We know what's going on with us now. So now we can better manage it by knowing it at first and then finding out whatever we need to do, to take care of it. So that's good. But yes, not having not having any symptoms definitely can be scary, Grace. I do agree with you on that. All right, Kenny K says, with your significant weight loss, do you still have type 2 diabetes? Yes. So what they say, Kenny K, is once you have diabetes, you always have diabetes. That's the claim, right? But I serve a God. Yes, yes, yes. That says I am healed. Matter of fact, I was healed. Look, I was healed already. So I'm believing in God that I'm healed. I'm still saying that. But yes, as far as the natural sense, once diabetic, always diabetic. Now it can be reversed and it can go in remission. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. But my numbers are definitely, in 5 months, I was able to get my A1C back down to the normal range, and it's been at the normal range ever since. So, and I've been on my journey since July 2024. So, yes, it was 15.1 Kenny K, which is off the charts, dangerously high. Could have been in a coma or could have been deleted from this world, right? And in 5 months, I was able to get it back down to the normal range, 5.6. And then now I'm at 5.3. So, yes. Kenny K says, what is a weight loss doctor? They just make sure that I don't know like what the real name, but yep, it can be a bariatric doctor. Endocrinologist helps you with, like diabetes and things like that. Hold on, I'm trying to. All right, so endocrinologists are specialists who diagnose and treat hormone imbalances, granular diseases, including diabetes, thyroid disease. So if you have hypo or hyperthyroidism, thyroid nodules, you have some kind of nodules in your neck, but it's not actual, PCOS, metabolic disorders, osteoporosis, pituitary tumors, adrenal issues, and hormone related infertility. That's what endocrinologists help with. Okay. They manage these conditions affecting metabolism, growth, and reproduction by restoring hormone balance. That's what endocrinologists do. Okay. But yes, bariatric doctors are weight loss doctors. Okay, so weight loss doctors or obese medicine specialists are licensed physicians, MDs or DOs, with specialized training in treating obesity and its related underlying metabolic or hormonal conditions. They focus on comprehensive, evidence based management, including medications, nutrition, lifestyle changes, often holding certifications from the American Board of Obesity Medicine. Okay. So a little different, but yeah, a lot different, really. All right. Grant says, I'm not sure how you determine if type 2 diabetes has been reversed without going off the GLP-1. Not sure either. But they evidently are doing it. Baby Curious with Kim is here tonight, honey. Yes. All right. So determining if type 2 diabetes is in remission while still taking a GLP-1 receptor agonist, such as Ozempic, Wegovy, Manjaro, requires. I don't know why they put Wegovy because that's not a type 2 diabetes medication, but Ozempic and Wegovy. I'm sorry, Ozempic and Manjaro requires evaluating if your body can maintain normal blood sugars due to the weight loss and metabolic improvements the medication causes, rather than just the medication immediate daily effects. And of course, if you are diabetic, your A1C would be over 6.5 and up, 6.5 and up. Okay, that's what I was saying. Mine was 15.1 when I found out I had diabetes. So that's three times what it's supposed to be. Almost three times what it's supposed to be. Love that you're adding to your care team, Kim J. Yes, yes, thank you, Grace. All right, Felicia says, Grant, it's hard for my dad to get his water in too, but I just encourage him every day, and that helps. I know Christy is your biggest supporter, but we can definitely support each other. Yes. So true, FMB. Grant says, right now, we'll starting 15 milligrams. I can't stomach a bunch of water. Like I said, it's understandable. So you do a little sips here and there. That's how you get it, Grant. Little sips here and there. If you even got to get you know how you have the little 2 ounce little cups. If you got to do that every 30 minutes, do what you got to do. Every 15 minutes, do what you need to do to make sure you're getting that water in. Monty says you are always diabetic. It's just into remission, right? So again, there's. So let me verses. So when it comes to reversal of type 2 diabetes, let me see, and remission. All right, type 2 diabetes remission is the preferred medical term for achieving non-diabetic blood sugar levels, ABA1C, of less than 6.5 for at least 3 months without medication. That's for remission without medication. So you wouldn't be on these GLP-1s. So I guess you may not find out that you're in remission. And then unless your doctor tells you, of course. And then while often used interchangeably with reversal, remission emphasizes that the condition is managed, not cured, and requires ongoing healthy habits to prevent relapse. All right, so reversal often uses interchangeably with remission, but sometimes implies a cure or a permanent return to a pre-diabetic state. Experts prefer remission because reversal can falsely suggest that diabetes has vanished forever. And so, since diabetes, they're thinking it doesn't vanish forever, then they normally use the word. Wait a minute, hold on, I'm sorry. Remission instead of reversal. Okay. Yes, goes into remission. Hi, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Oh, LOL. I just like, okay. Candy K. Funny. All right, Felicia says, try at least 2 bottles of water a day and spread the time you intake your water, Grant. That helps my dad. Grant says, I'll try that. Great idea. Thank you, Miss Felicia Marie B. All right, Kenny says, have a team of med professional for this GLP-1 journey is so important. Yes, I have a visit with my dietitian tomorrow. Awesome, 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 Kenny K. Yay, yay, yay. All right, good evening, Miss Linda McDuffie. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in, sweetie. All right, Kenny K says, my doctor put in a referral for physical therapy. Now I get one-on-one personal training for my total knee replacement. That's awesome, Candy K. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Great, great stuff. I know that's right. All right, Grace says, how's your suppression, Grant? Sound like he's being suppressed. For sure, increased again. Yep. There you go. All right, Kenny K says, Kim J, you are super informed. You probably know as much or more than they do. You should do life coaching for real, for real. Thank you for that, Kenny K. Maybe someday. Who knows? Who knows? Hello, Jane. How are you doing? JC Calamity Jane was in the house watching from the clouds. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Money is correct. Type 2 diabetes specifically is a managed condition, not reversed or cured. Okay, back to the clouds. Thank you so much for that, sweetheart. Money says, dang, most insurance covers it. Did you let them try first? Yes, I called them and asked. And they found out it was telehealth, honey, and they was like, nope. Because she read what my I guess what the laws were, or the whatever they call them. And they said, yeah, my insurance company said they won't cover it. Um they won't charge you until they try to get it covered. They do a so you saying call like try them first. Now they have a physical address somewhere in Texas, but my insurance company was like, but because they put they all of the appointments have to be or was it telehealth or whatever online. That's when she was like, nope, you can't do it because it says it's not face to face. They do a preliminary first. Okay, I may still try it. We should see. Maybe they know because they may know a way around it. They may know a way around. Because I'm like, well, I don't go to my dietitian office here either. Like in my hometown, I do it over the what we do it. Oh, we do it over the phone actually. You know. So but my dietitian is with my like with one of the local hospitals, they go up under one of the local hospitals here. So they don't even know, what's going on. So far as they're concerned, it's still like I'm going to their office. Okay, so Grant says that's what my first daughter had was okay, congenital heart defect. Yes, Grant, Okay, so Jane says A1C is an average of 3 months. Yes, glucose is at that moment and that finger. Right, that finger as well. Your physician will advise how frequent you should test. Right, exactly. Okay, thank you for that. Money says, yes, my dietitian is also a personal trainer and overcame eating disorder too. Oh, wow, wonderful. Yay for her. Awesome, awesome. Baby, I wanted your diet. Look, I don't want nobody else. I want who is yours? So she may get some more information in. She probably give you even more information than some of the other ones. All right, so Ms. Linda says potassium is a part of creatine high levels. So watch your fruits and veggies that are high in potassium. Yes. Okay, thank you, Miss. Look at Miss Linda. Go on, put it out there. Yes, I will, some honey. Yes. And my potassium for a long time was very low. But when they check my numbers, going to the doctor, going to the quest, I'm in the normal range. Finally got back to the normal range. My water pill was pulling my potassium down like nobody's business. For years, I was having issues with low potassium, having to take, these big old horse pills because of it. Yes. My current doctor and not physician assistant, what is she? My nurse practitioner, she immediately took me off of the medicine I was on, which is chlorothalidone, and she put me on one that helps me save that potassium. And so it's spironolactone, and spironolactone is so it's I have it went right back up to that normal range, and it's been right there ever since to the normal range. So, and my sodium levels as well. My sodium levels stayed low, even though I put salt, I put seasoning on my food, honey. I season my food for real, for real. But yeah, sodium level on the money right now too. Yep, because of and so that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I say with the electrolyte thing. Do you need it? Do you not? You don't even know unless because it can make you go high. Like at one point, I was taking extra calcium in a pill form, and then I took one of my went and did my blood work, and my calcium was so high. Soon as I stopped taking that extra supplement, because I get a lot of calcium when my net diary tells me I was getting a lot of calcium already. Here I go taking more, whatever, thinking I needed it more. And as soon as I got off of that stuff, my calcium levels went right back down to normal range. So that's why I said, don't just be jumping on any and everything. We got to make sure we're doing it strategically to make sure that we are, that we won't be messing up something else. So yes, I was looking at, let me see. All right, so 17 foods to avoid with kidney disease. Oranges, orange juice given from their because of their potassium, which is what if you're doing too much of it, in other words, likely need to be avoided or limited on a renal diet. And then again, that's if your doctor has put you on a renal diet. Grapes, apples, and cranberries, as well as their respective juices, are all good substitutes for oranges or orange juice, as they have lower potassium content. All right, so that's why you got to look your stuff up too. Thank you, Miss Linda, for that. And then she said, so watch your fruits and veggies that are high in potassium. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Jan says non-diabetic. I'm from Jan. Jane says non-diabetic normal blood glucose is 80 to 120. Okay, so she's heard that from somewhere. All right, I've heard 70 to 100. All right, low carb queen says, hi, Kim J. Hello, Queen T. How are you doing, Auntie Queen? Thanks for coming in. I hope you're doing well, sweetheart. All right. Low carb queen says, hi, everyone in the chat. All right, everybody saying hello to her. Let me see. All right. Yep. Thank you. That was okay. Got you. Oh, no. Tamika says. All right, Grace says insurance companies are restricting or dropping coverage for Mounjaro, tirzepatide, primarily when used for weight loss rather than type 2 diabetes. Yeah, so once that A1C go down to the normal range and it's down so many, times, after it being checked so many times and it's still low or it's going much lower, to like the fives, fours, whatever. Yeah, some people are being taken off of it, definitely. Thank you for that, Grace. All right, FMB says my friend's dad was kicked off of Mounjaro for 1 month and put on Jardiance, and his fasting glucose is back up to the 180. See, it's terrible. Leave my Mounjaro friends alone, right? Leave us alone, honey. Let us be great. Tell me why I just Googled foamy urine. Grace just. Hey, Jeez, how you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Look, yep, sorry, Grace. So you can't, your eyes can't unsee what you done seen, huh? Felicia Marie B says, Grace, yes, we got to look at your pee. You got to look at your pee, honey. Yes. Everybody saying hated. Geez, that's terrible. FMB, my constant fear right there. Yes, me too, Grant. Honey, I skipped October. I was supposed to go to the doctor in October. I skipped that bad, baby. Right on. I said I'll go in February. Well, I was gonna go in January, but then they didn't have appointments until February. So I was like, well, give me February because I'm not going. I got scared, y'all. Monty says some are making them use the vials because it's cheaper. Yes. Okay. I haven't heard them, but at least they doing that. My doctor wrote that no other meds work. I know that's right, and that's what I was talking to FMB about. You definitely got to make sure your doctor is advocating for you. You are advocating for yourself, and your doctor advocating for you. Some doctors don't want to do all that extra work, right? But there are some doctors that will. There's some doctors that will. And so FMB says, yeah, it's terrible. Right. Okay, so Monty says, Manjaro suppress my thirst. It makes it so hard to drink. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it suppress your thirst and your food, intake. So you like trying to weigh yourself, like which one I'm gonna do. So that's why I said you may have to do a look like some people they do 6 meals, a day. If they can't eat, 3 regular meals, they may do 6 small, real tiny meals a day. That way they can make sure they get enough calories in. Because, if you have a very, very low calorie count, it could potentially, stop you from losing weight or you're not getting enough nutrients in. So it's, can be messing up your health in general. So just like how we always say, too much could be too much, and too little can be too little. It can be, not good for you. Either way. So you want to try to, be in that healthy, range. Exactly right, Monty. Yep, Grant says. All right, let's see. Struggle is real, Grant. Yes, it is. Internal medicine doctors can also be obesity specialists. Thank you. Yes, and that's what those people were. They were internal medicine doctors. Thank you, Monty, for that. All right, Ms. Linda McDuffie says, Hadreen, your CKD is not in a bad range. You're just below normal to high stage 2. Stage 3A and 3B is mild to moderate CKD. Watch pain meds over the counter also. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Linda, for that. When it comes to your pain medication, you definitely do not want to take oh God, what's the thing called? Ibuprofen. When it comes to CKD, you do not want to take ibuprofen, which is such as Advil, as well as Motrin. Those are very good pain medications, honey. Very, very good inflammation medications. But you do not want to take those things. That's what my kidney doctor said, and I've heard it, widespread. Do not take ibuprofen. Now, of course, if for some reason you had a some kind of surgery, or you may have had something, say your toothache, and they had to prescribe ibuprofen, they may go ahead on and do it because they look at what's most important at the moment, but you're not going to be on that all the time. But yeah, when it comes to that over the counter stuff, we got to be very careful with ibuprofen, or what have you, because it's not good. It's harder to filter through your kidneys. Kenny K says, Monty, that's a great dietitian and trainer all in one. That's a win. Yes, she's, yep. You're right about it. Okay, so Grant said those potassium pills are the worst. Them, when I say they gigantic, like horse pills, I've had to watch my levels not getting too low there too. Yes. All right. And then Kenny says, my PCP left a note in my chart for me to add electrolytes to my water based on my labs. See, there you go. So her sodium and potassium and magnesium, those are the ones, the electrolytes. That's what electrolytes help. The potassium, the magnesium, and the sodium levels. So yes, if for some reason you need that, you have to have it. I do drink electrolytes. Definitely, like, the days that I work out, I'll get some in, if I work out, doing strength training and stuff like that. Cause, you excrete in, water and stuff, sweating and everything, it may have you, urinating a little bit more and things like that. So yeah, it's good to replenish yourself with electrolytes, okay? Because you don't want them to go under. So electrolyte benefits after workout. It replenishes the minerals that's lost through sweat. I just looked it up. Replenish minerals lost through sweat. Rehydrate the body more effectively than water alone. It reduces muscle cramping and restores proper muscle nerve function. Okay, I know Grant was talking about it where you know the muscles are broken down, it's tearing and stuff when you're doing your strength training, whatever, and then it rebuilds itself even stronger, right? That's the great thing about strength training. One of the great things, so many different things, but yeah. So the sodium, the potassium, the magnesium, and the calcium as well helps, replenish. That's the electrolytes that is, helping those things. Um, Sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium. All right. Katie is the best. Okay, Katie. Yeah. Okay. She just go by Katie, or do you got to have a last name for her too, Miney? I'm be like the Katie that's a trainer. Oh my God, can I have her? Mine says after I finish this box of 15, I'm going down to 12.5. Now that I am close to my goal, 15 is too strong for her. Okay, awesome. Look, and I'm happy that you're close to your goal too. And how are you doing, by the way? How is that stomach looking now? How's everything going with your, after your surgery? I know you have, it's been a little minute since we talked about it. So give us an update, Miney, on it. I know what you're getting in the gym. Are you able to, work out like you were working out before? Are you still kind of, doing your, like modified things or less, than what you were doing before? Let us know in the comments. Grace says, with which electrolytes are you enjoying, Kendi K? Which ones do you like, sweetheart? Congratulations to Miney. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Money, how you doing on your in your workout? Baby, Kenny K, I don't know if you know, Money is a beast when it comes to the working out. Yep. She hashtag goals, honey. She goes to the gym to work out. Now, my miss, my she is Tamika, that's my girl, honey. That now she hashtag goals. She hashtag goals. Look, her arms, honey. When I saw her arms in January of 2025, I was like, ooh, look at her arms. Yes. Mm-hmm. And ever since I'm like, hashtag goals, Tamika. G says, congratulations on being close to goal. G's, I heard you've been doing real good over there too, honey. You've been doing good too. Yes. Almost 100 pounds down. Awesome, awesome for you. Yes, yes, yes. Happy about it. Doing real good. I know you are into the percentages also of weight loss, or whatever. You're on Zepbound, doing well over there. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. All right. Cool. I'm gonna try to see if I can. I'm gonna call them and see. Because, like I said, they may have a back door in to get. They know what to put on them papers to get me covered. All right, Grace says, Miney, bottle some of that stamina and sell it. Right. Exactly. Exactly. You're welcome, G's. You're welcome, honey. 100%. He said 100, honey. 100. Grace says Tamika has the best art. She does, baby. Them things looking nice. Look at her. Mm-hmm. She'll show y'all. Look, she'll show y'all. When did she show y'all? Or was that the members? Maybe that was the members only. She was flexing. She flexed too on her regular channel. Jeez, she didn't even have to flex that much. She just like, and then you see them muscles come up. Then she y'all see I got a little jiggly down here. Girl, please. Please. So modest. G says body fat percentage is what I believe. There you go. Okay, we have to look at beyond the scale. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, G's, for that. I mean, because a lot of times, that body fat percentage, that's going to tell you a whole lot more. Y'all, I'm looking. Look, I started looking it up. Let me see. Hold up. So, body fat percentage is generally a better indicator of health and fitness progress than the number on the scale. Like G said, I know I already knew what you was talking about. I knew you was right, but I wanted to look it up. Curious with Kim. Um, while the scale only measures total weight, muscle fat, bone, and water, body fat percentage distinguishes fat from lean mass. This allows you to track fat loss, even if your weight stays the same due to muscle. Okay? Yep, yep, yep. That's so important. And then it says limitations. While body fat percentage is better at home, smart scales measuring it can be influenced by hydration levels. Using a combination of methods such as skin fold calipers, body circumference measurements, and how clothes fit is the most effective approach. And that's from Houston Methodist. That's who said that. All right. So yes, body fat percentage, y'all. Okay. Tamika be winging. I try. Yeah, you be doing it, honey. Okay. Money says lower ab is a little harder now. Okay, gotcha. Okay, she said she in swell HELL. Okay, but almost able to do unassisted pull ups. Awesome, awesome. Deadlift 75-pound dumbbells now. Girl, that's crazy. That is crazy. Wow, 75-pound dumbbell. Money, you trying to be a power lifter too? Have you thought about powerlifting? Working on that summer body yada 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 yada. Okay, I know that's right. You're welcome, sweetheart. You're welcome. All right, y'all. So, um, one more thing, because I didn't talk about the HRT. So I did talk to my doctor, right? I went to my gynecologist. So I told you my endocrinologist, because he's able to, give hormone replacement therapy, right? Medications. But I went to my gynecologist, and which is who I wanted to get it from first, right? Or I wanted the gynecologist to, administer me that stuff. And so some of the things she was like, wow, your endocrinologist gave you something. I'm like, yeah. She was like, because a lot of them don't want to give it to you. So I guess from those who she knows and or have heard. So she was like, well, I commend him for that, what have you. But he was saying I didn't need testosterone um, because testosterone turns into estrogen, right? And she said she begged to differ with that. If anything, she would give me testosterone versus estrogen. Okay, so she told me to look into the testosterone. Like Google it. Research it. Things of that nature to see, why women should have testosterone some at times when they're in, menopause. So yes, she also made sure I did lab work. So while my endocrinologist, he went off my feelings, what I did, that I'm 52, that I have had a partial hysterectomy, that I have um, also, have a lot of different symptoms of, menopause or what have you. And so, he was like, I really don't have to do, the test, run the test, hormone panel, but you can if you want to, but I just go by the feelings and what the people are saying they're going through, the patients are saying they're going through. So she's into more of the bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, versus the just traditional hormone replacement therapy. So she did look at my medication I'm on a progesterone, progesterone, yes, and I'm on estrogen. So right now, I've been on it for a couple weeks now. It does help me. It has been helping me. I sleep a little longer now. Before I have to get up to use the restroom, about 4 hours instead of 3 hours. So that's good. That's the progesterone is helping me with that. Um, it also that as well as the estrogen helps me a little bit with more not have as much night sweats. So I won't be soaking the bed wet because I'm sweating like crazy, or having to put the temperature on like 65, yeah, and freezing everybody else out. Also, it helps me with the day hot flashes and everything. So, it's helping me a little bit. But my pharmacy was saying, normally it takes like a month before you really see a good difference. So I still want to get my blood work checked because, for as I'm concerned, I'm like, the only thing about, he did put me on, my endocrinologist put me on a low dose of both. But then I come back in May for him to, recheck or whatever and see how I'm doing and all that stuff and see if he needs to tweak something or whatever. My gynecologist is looking at it as, let's go ahead and get these numbers so we'll know, so I'll know what regimen to put you on right now. Okay. So that made me happy, because I was like, I understand it and I'll use what he gave me, for now. But when I get back to that gynecologist, we're going to talk a little bit more about getting these tests ran. But I needed something right away because I've been suffering for a long time, white knuckling it for a long time. And he's like, there's no need to white knuckle it. Get the medicines and let them help, let it help you out, So yeah. So that's that. So I'm gonna be looking up some information about testosterone, learn a little bit more about that. I believe her. I know there's some people in our communities taking testosterone. And with women, you just need a little bit, to put you where you need to be at, if you need it at all. But I would know when I get these HRT, I mean, these hormone panel results back. So yeah, mine says no, just want a V taper shape. Now that I have hips and glutes. Okay, hips and glutes. All right. Hips, lips, and fingertips. Yes. Yes, yes. Hello, Miss Linda. How are you doing? And let me go back. How are you doing? I'm happy you came in. Thanks for coming in late in the conversation, but I'm here and I thank you for being here. And I think we're about to get off of this chat. I've been on here like 2 hours, so yeah, it's time to get off so I can get me some grub. Yes. G says 21% body fat on a woman is absolutely phenomenal, money. I told you she doing a thing, honey. Yes. You are in rare company. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. She doing her thing, honey. Yes. All right. So y'all, all hearts and minds are clear. Are all hearts and minds clear, honey? Let me know. Let me know. Is there anything else you have to ask me, need to talk to me about, whatever, about this subject that we're talking about today? Is there? Is there? Are there? Are there? Are there? If not, y'all, I'm finna head out. I am about to head out. Miss Linda, my numbers, I went over my numbers today, my blood work today, my latest blood work was from February. Went over in detail when it comes to CKD, the numbers, when it comes to diabetes, and my cholesterol. So, and my blood pressure, I didn't say that. My blood pressure has been doing well too. Throughout my journey, my Manjaro journey, it is down to the normal range now. It is looking good where it's at. Of course, blood pressure fluctuate, every moment too, depending on which arm you put it on, things of that nature. But every time it's checked, it has been doing well. So it's in the normal range as well. So my A1C is in the normal range. It's 5.3 now instead of that 15.1 where it was in 2024. It is my kidney disease. I am working on some of those levels still. That's back and forth. When it comes to that, I got to make sure I'm drinking enough water, or what have you, being more intentional with it. To make sure that I'm helping flush out the things that I'm putting in my body, consuming, digesting. My cholesterol is my HDL is very better. It's in the normal range now where it was not. So it's in the normal range back in there, and I'm still working on that to make sure it gets up a little bit more. And my LDLs, which is a bad cholesterol, it's back down to 100. So it's right on the, under 100 is where they want you to be. But I'm right at 100 the last time I checked. So I'm still working on that even more. And then I need to try to get it down to under 70 though. That LDL need to go down under 70 for diabetic patients. So, and people with congenital heart disease. Okay. So if you have any kind of heart disease or you have, diabetes, you want your LDL optimum to be under 70. So yeah, I shared that with the community, with the Sweet Life Squad today. All right. Ms. Linda said, great live. Kim J, you're welcome. You're welcome. Mine says, court date in the AM. I know that's right. Tamika said, good night, ladies and gents. And then Miss Linda says, what she said, this was a great chat. Kim J on tonight. Thank you, everyone. Have a peaceful evening. Yes, y'all. Have a peaceful, great job, mining. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, y'all. I love you all. Until next time, y'all be blessed. Peace.